Hello, welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrove here. Hope you guys are doing well. Please remember to hit thumbs up and hit subscribe on the channel. Newcastle United have beaten West Ham 1-0 down in the capital. Not a game that will live long in the memory, not a game that had any real quality, but Newcastle United scored the only goal of the game. That's what matters, and they've picked up 3 valuable points in the race for Champions League qualification. Takes them to 6th in the Premier League, joint on points with Manchester City after this weekend's results. Only one probably went in their favour, maybe 2 if you stretch the Tottenham-Bournemouth result. So they really needed to win and to get back into the mix for Champions League for qualification. They have done that. They also needed the win because they needed to go into Sunday League Cup final against Liverpool on the back of a victory. You did not want to be heading into that game having lost tonight. I would like to have been heading into that game on the back of a bit of a better performance, because we have to be honest, Newcastle United didn't really play all that well this evening. There were glimpses, there were flashes, but overall it was a very, very poor game. It felt like it was a game against a side that was one side that was nervous in Newcastle, and another side that doesn't have anything to play for in West Ham. It lacked quality, and the moments of flashes and brilliance were kind of diluted by bad decision making on the ball from both sides. The game didn't really flow. It's not a game that would have impressed the neutral. It's not a game and not a performance by Newcastle United that will have scared Liverpool. I think Liverpool actually will be buoyed by tonight and watching Newcastle United play, because they'll look at it and think, well, actually, there's nothing really there. And that's no slate on Newcastle. We know they're a great side, but they're just not at the levels they were back in January when they put all those wins together. They're not at those levels. They're missing key players as well, in Gordon and in Botman, and you just think Liverpool are the best side in the world. But that being said, Newcastle United picked up the victory night. That was the number one priority, because okay, the performance wasn't there. If that's not going to be there, make sure the 3 points are there. Make sure the win is there to send you down to London on Sunday in a more positive mood, because you are more positive now after this victory. And as Bruno said after the game, it's a cup final. Anything can happen. But again, I think Liverpool will look at tonight and see vulnerability across the park, really, especially at the back though. And I don't want to come on here and be negative, because we're trying to find the positives. The positives are Newcastle United have won. I thought the midfield 3 of Bruno, Joe Linton and Tonali looked quite decent. Bruno, attacking wise, obviously gets the goal, but I thought he was the man trying to make everything happen. Tonali won, I think, all of his duels. He certainly won at least 9 of them. I haven't got the stats in front of me, but he was very, very impressive in terms of being that kind of defensive man of the midfield 3. And Joe Linton is just the tank, brings that physicality. I thought those 3 played really well, and it does give Eddie Howe something to think about. I've been a big advocate of him going 5 at the back in this final, but look, the midfield 3 played so well. Maybe he sticks with them on Sunday, but they were vulnerable across the back 4. There wasn't really one man who stood out in terms of a positive. Dan Burn and Fabian Schär getting caught out several times. Fabian Schär, I don't know what's happened to him. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, then I don't think he should be offered a new contract, and his performance tonight only reaffirms my belief that his time on Tyneside is up. Hopefully he can shut me up by scoring the winner against Liverpool in the final, but several bad decisions tonight. One within the first 50 seconds when he decides not to take the ball off Gudas, and West Ham very nearly score, but there was a few misplaced passes. He's just lacking that pace. He looks like he's lacking a bit of confidence and concentration, and Dan Burn as well was caught out a few times. And tonight you're facing a West Ham side who are going through a bit of a transition under Graham Potter, who's not been in charge too long, and you could see by the way he was making substitutions towards the end, he was just throwing as much attacking power onto the pitch, and it looked a bit disorganised. West Ham are nowhere near the level of Liverpool, and if Newcastle's back 4 play like they did tonight against Liverpool, then goodness me, it really could be embarrassing on Sunday. And I hate saying that, because I want to go down with some positivity, but we have to be honest in the way Newcastle United played tonight, especially defensively, and how they've been playing in recent weeks defensively. They are vulnerable, and you are facing the best attacker in the world right now in Mo Salah, who can just not, he just doesn't stop scoring. He can't stop scoring, and he will make the most of any opportunity he gets. And on the flanks, Tino Livramento, he looked okay defensively. I thought he was really given a tough challenge of it with Jared Bowen, who, by the way, look, if Newcastle want a right winger this summer, he would not be a bad option at all. I thought he was really impressive tonight. Although Tino, he did all right against him, but going forward, Tino just didn't have it about him. He hasn't got what Lewis Hall's got, i.e. that left foot to get the ball into the box. And just getting away from the defence for a moment, it was no surprise that when Newcastle United started putting the ball into the box in that second half, all of a sudden they looked really dangerous. You had Jacob Murphy, who did nothing all game. He put a ball in the box and it ended up nearly as an own goal. A great save by the goalkeeper. Moments later, ball in the box from Harvey Barnes, and Bruno gets on the end of it. Newcastle United in the first half found themselves in some tremendous positions down the left, but the ball just kept going back or sideways. It didn't get into the box. And I think, especially against Liverpool, you're not going to have as many options. You're not going to find yourself in that much of that high up the pitch that often. So when you do, you've got to get the ball in the box. Does that mean Matt Target comes in because he's a little bit more comfortable doing that? No, I don't think so. I think it will be Tino Livramento, and maybe the boys just have a little bit more confidence. Just try and get it in the box, because the opportunities are not going to be there as much as they were tonight. Kieran Trippier on the other side, you can see the pace isn't there, but I thought he was probably the best of the four. That experience is there, and he's what you need in a final, don't you? He was the only one against Manchester United 2 years ago that had the experience of a final. He's going to be needed on Sunday. He really, really is. And I thought he put in a decent enough performance tonight. And look, that's going to be if he plays a back four on Sunday, that's going to be the back four. I still think I would prefer to go back five, but we'll wait and see what happens. And then we talk about the goalkeeper. I think it's going to be Nick Pope. But if you look at how Nick Pope performed tonight, especially when he was under pressure, his kicking was all over the shop. He's coming out to try and collect crosses and corners and not looking confident at all. He didn't have a save to make. For all I'm complaining about the defence, didn't have a save to make, but he looked nervous. He really, really did. And I think if you ask Newcastle United fans about who starts on Sunday, I still think you'll get quite a few of them saying Martin Dubravka, please. But I do think it'll be Nick Pope. But certainly defensively, Newcastle United tonight looked vulnerable at the back. And I think Liverpool will be rubbing their hands at the prospect of facing Newcastle United. And maybe that's why you've got to go five at the back. But come on, let's try and be positive. I know it sounds a little bit negative. We have to be honest. We have to be realistic. We have to be truthful about what we saw tonight. So that's why I'm talking about the defence in this way. It's just my opinion. You might disagree with me, but I was a little bit nervous, and I am a little bit more nervous about Sunday after watching that defensive display. But as I said, midfield three I thought looked good. Harvey Barnes on the left, he had 3 chances in the first half. He should have got on the score sheet for at least one of those. He looked like a man who's come out of the cold a little bit, but he's got that running about him. He gets into attacking positions. He's a goal scorer. He really, really is. And look, is one game enough to get the blood running around your body and getting him warmed up for the game? Probably not, but he hasn't got time to think about that. If he starts on Sunday and one of those chances falls to him, he's got to get the ball in the back of the net. But I was pleasantly surprised with Barnes' impact, especially in the first half, and he gets the assist, of course, for the Bruno goal as well. I think he done enough to put some thought into the mind of Eddie Howe about who starts on that left. Is it him? Is it Joe Willock? Do you bring Lewis Miley in and play Joe Linton out on the left? He's got options. Obviously, you'd prefer Anthony Gordon, but I thought Barnes put a shift in this evening and didn't do too badly at all. Jacob Murphy on the other flank was absent. It wasn't a good performance from him, and when he was on the ball, that one cross aside, he gave it away quite a lot, and I think he looked like a man who was maybe a bit distracted by the final, but it's understandable. It's a cup final. You don't want to get injured, and it is a distraction. Bruno admitted that in his interview with Sky afterwards, but I didn't think Murphy stood out at all. But look, he's got absolutely no competition on that flank, so he's going to be starting on Sunday. And Isak up top was totally absent. I mean, West Ham did a really good job on him, and he tried, but I haven't seen any stats about how many touches he had, but I'm willing to bet it wasn't more than maybe 20, 25. They did a really good number on him, and you just have to hope that his frustration when he left the pitch, he looked a bit, not that he was frustrated being substituted, but I think he was frustrated at his own performance. Hopefully he bottles that, and then that just kind of explodes on Sunday, and Liverpool find out just what a brilliant striker he really, really is. He likes playing against Liverpool. He scored a few goals against Liverpool. It'd be perfect time to add to his tally, wouldn't it, at Wembley? So he didn't really do too much, but the other positive out of the whole entire game, touch wood, it looks like everyone's come through this game unscathed. No injuries. That's absolutely crucial. So key players have got minutes under the belt. They've got the win in the race for the Champions League. They've got the win in terms of building a bit of momentum ahead of Sunday and going into that game with a bit of bounce in your step. And key players have come through without any injuries as far as we know. There are positives there to be had. Really, really are. And I think Eddie Howe will be doing everything to bottle those positives and say, look, you have a good side, good squad. We've shown how good we are. We should have beaten Liverpool earlier in the season. We've beaten some top sides this season. We beat Arsenal, who are probably the second best side in the Premier League. We've beaten Nottingham Forest, who are flying high. Go into that Wembley final and believe in yourselves. And that was what Bruno was talking about. He was talking about belief and how he believed Newcastle United can beat Liverpool, and how anything can happen in the final, and how the fans can make a difference as well. And that's going to be key on Sunday. And it all starts with the foundation of tonight, the fact that Newcastle United got a victory. That was the most important thing. Yes, it would have been good if it was with ease, if it was a cricket score, if they just played better, because they were pretty poor. But the first brick in the foundation is that victory, and they can go into the rest of this week with their heads held high, bit of confidence, bit of positivity, bit of optimism. It's going to feel a lot different going down to Wembley on the back of this win instead of had they lost, because it would have been negative, the gloom and doom that I don't know about you guys, but I've been feeling over the last week or so about Newcastle United. That's gone now. They've won. We can look ahead to the final against Liverpool with a bit more optimism, a bit more positivity, as I say, and fingers crossed they can bring the trophy home. There we have it. Newcastle United 1-0 winners against West Ham. Big 3 points in the race for Champions League football. Hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments your man of the match. For me, I'm going to go Bruno. I thought he was everywhere today and gets the winner. Can't argue against anyone who picks him. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know who your man of the match was. And let me know as well, does this change your mood heading into the Wembley final? Can't wait to hear what you guys are feeling. Thank you very much for tuning in. And tune in tomorrow for another podcast, a little bit more in depth about this game and much more as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye bye.